This M. Ruiz of the Government Procurement Policy Board Technical Support Office. A round of applause, please. Maski naman lang yung palakpak ang marinig.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Director Amy. Do you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you, Ma'am Weng.
That's great. So again, pleasant afternoon to everyone, to my colleagues in the NUCESO, as well as from the government and all others listening to us this afternoon. Before I proceed, may I just ask all of the participants po to mute their audio para ho wala ho tayong background. Wala ho tayong background music habang ako ay nagle-lecture. Kasi we still hear po some of the audio of the participants. So let me proceed by, we can still hear one po. Can we ask all of the participants to kindly mute po your audio? Okay. At the same time, please be careful po from scribbling anything on the video panel of your laptop or your desktop. Okay. Sometimes po kasi the participants, they would scribble. Okay. Now, let me begin. It's a very good topic that the NUCESO asked me to lecture on, which is government procurement under the new normal. But before that, allow me to present to you what the GPPB is. Ang GPPB po ay isang interagency body headed by the Secretary of the Department of Budget and Management. Apart from the DBM, there's 12 other agencies that, in fact, some of the member representatives of the agencies I saw earlier is actually participating in this afternoon's webinar. So the idea po is for us to be able to have a very multifaceted approach in terms of procurement so that the nuances of each of the agency's procurement practices will be recognized and considered in the crafting of our rules. Also, it's important to note that apart from the government sector, we actually have one private sector representative in the board. So hindi lang po siya government-wide or while government-led po siya, meron din po tayong private sector contributions sa ating GPPB. Okay. The GPPB has a technical support office. That's the agency that I head. And now it's important also for me to emphasize what are the key strategies that the board and also the TSO has been implementing, not only in this time of health crisis, but also even with respect to the other rules that we have been crafting over the years. Number one, we need to be proactive. Hindi po tayo mag-iintay ng tanong bago tayo gumawa ng sagot. We anticipate questions through the issuances of guidelines and also of opinions. It's important for us to streamline. The streamlining of processes by the GPPB is not only to simplify the rules, but more importantly, for us to be able to empower our procurement practitioners. No? Hindi po kailangan sa lahat ng bagay, you have to go up to the head of the agency to make procurement decisions. This is also one thing that we would like to emphasize because we would like to shift government procurement in the Philippines from one of procurement compliance to more of procurement management. Number three, innovate. I think we've been hearing this now, no? Given the limited funds and limited resources that the government has, and compare it with the huge, and the very big responsibility that we all undertake, particularly in procurement, we need to be able to innovate. We don't have to innovate in big terms. We can innovate in small things in order for us to be able to adjust, adapt to the new normal, as they say. And finally, very, very important in any procurement, especially in the case of emergency procurement, is in terms of transparency. What is transparency? It means an open, transparent facility for us to be able to see how procurement is actually being undertaken. Later, I will discuss to you more about the government portal that the GPPB has launched and is actually using right now under the, not only to implement the Bayanihan procurement, but also some of the other reforms that we have. Now, let me just list to you some of the issuances that would probably guide most agencies right now. And these are the issuances that have recently been issued by the board, particularly with respect to Bayanihan or emergency procurement, as well as regular procurements that we will have to undertake. Okay, unang-una po sa lahat, as early as March 9, the board has already approved for resolution number 3-2020. Ano po itong resolution na to? It adopted the use of effective or efficient procurement using emergency procurement under Republic Act 9184. This was complemented by Resolution 5-2020, yun pong pagbibigay or pag-authorize ng mga alternative documentary requirements when using emergency procurement under 9184. So tandaan po natin, even before the Bayanihan Act, meron na po tayong emergency procurement at meron na hong na-issue ang board na emergency procurement rules na pwedeng gamitin during a state of public health emergency. Okay? What's most important po dito is for the first time, we had the GPPB and COA Joint Memorandum Circular. Ano po yung nakalaman sa circular? Simply pong sinabi niya na ina-affirm mo ng COA ang paggamit ng emergency procurement in times of this COVID pandemic. You might ask, why is that important? A colleague of mine from the World Bank once told me, it's really important in government procurement that not only that we have the rules, it's also equally important that we actually have a COA that agrees with us on using those sets of rules. So malaki pong bagay itong pag-i-issue natin ng GPPB and COA Joint Memorandum Circular. Now, that's a negotiated procurement under 9184. Thereafter, meron pong naipasa ang Kongreso na Bayanihan Act, okay, yung RA 11649. Dahil po nakasaad dito na magkakaroon po ng special procurement rules na exempted sa 9184, minabuti ho ng GPPB na mag-issue ng Resolution 06-2020. Ano po yung ginawa ng resolution na to? Una po, inaprubahan niya ang paggamit ng GPPB Circular 1 or Guidelines for Emergency Procurement under the Bayanihan Act. So dalawa na ho ang ating emergency procurement. Ang pangalawang emergency procurement is under the Bayanihan Act. Para ho hindi malito at para ma-properly mag-guide ho ang ating mga ahensya, nag-issue ho kami ng Circular number 1 for emergency procurement under the Bayanihan Act. The other thing po na magandang ginawa under this resolution is as early as at this point, nagrekomenda ko ang board sa Office of the President for the issuance of a memorandum to increase the payment or to increase the rate for advance payment. Ano pong ibig sabihin nun? Under our auditing code po kasi, kinakailangan hong aprobado ng Pangulo ng ating bansa ang any authority for advance payment. Ang current for existing nating authority, bago po itong rekomendasyon ng board, is 15% lamang po. However, we did a study, we consulted, and we did some discussion and consultation with the suppliers, also with the procurement service. Nakita namin na mas malaki yung advance payment ang hinihingi, no? Para ho mabilis na maibigay yung ating mga COVID-19 response, items on COVID-19 response. So, base ho dun sa pag-aaral na yun, na-recommend ho ng GPPB ang advance payment ng 30%. And the Office of the President approved this in the memorandum order number 48. Okay. And then, you might also need to know that hindi naman ho lahat ng pinoprocure natin ngayon sa gobyerno ay related sa COVID response. Meron ho tayong mga regular procurement or projects or hindi man regular priority projects na hindi ho siya COVID related. Meron hong na-issue ang GPPB na 09-2020 na resolution approving measures for the efficient conduct of procurement activities. Lahat ho ng procurement activities yan during a state of calamity or implementation of a community quarantine. I will discuss the details to you later on. Now, what are the other things that the GPPB, particularly in this case, the Technical Support Office did? For the first time po, we issued what we call anticipatory opinions. Usually ho, we wait for a question and then we respond through an opinion. This time, we issued anticipatory opinions, yung pong NPM number 03-2020 at NPM number 04-2020. Ano po yung mga NPM na to? Ang ginawa po niya, sinummarize niya po yung procedure ng negotiated procurement under 9184 at emergency procurement under Bayanihan Act at nag-anticipate na po siya ng mga possible issues at sinagot na ho niya in that anticipatory opinion para ho, hindi yun na kailangan magtanong sa amin. Readily, you can access this Just search po online, makikita niyo po yan sa aming website and social media. Nakapost po yung aming opinion para mag-guide po ang ating mga procuring entities. Now, what are the other things that we have issued? The board issued also 04-2020 initially to extend the submission of the APCPI results. Thereafter, it was followed by 11-2020, extending the submission of all the other procurement reports. I will discuss the details later. But more importantly also, we look, as I mentioned, we need to be proactive. Hindi lang ho namin iniisip yung nangyayari ngayon. Looking forward for the activities po ng ating mga procuring entities. We've already not only extended procurement reports as far as those to be submitted ng next year, na-extend po yan. But also, we anticipated yung new normal. Kaya ho, tinanggal na ho namin ng physical submission of reports and authorized the mandatory electronic submission of the reports under GPPB Resolution 11-2020. Again, i-discuss ko po yan in details later. Now, I mentioned to you there's two emergency procurement. One is Bayanihan, the other is the emergency procurement under 9184. So how do we therefore distinguish one from the other? I guess if you are doing an emergency procurement right now, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, kasama ba siya dun sa mga items that is being shown on your screen? Okay? Ito ba ay mga bagay to mitigate the transmission of COVID? To mobilize assistance in the provision of basic necessities to families and individuals affected by the quarantine? Ito ba ay related to measures that will prevent the overburdening of our healthcare system or provide for recovery and rehabilitation, including social amelioration program? Ano-ano itong mga bagay na ito? Ito po yung mga medical equipments that we would need, PPEs, face masks, etc. Mga goods po, no, for relief, for social amelioration program, list of facilities to be used for quarantine, to be used to temporarily house our medical workers. Ito ba ay has something to do with the establishment or construction of temporary medical facilities, or would relate to utilities or telecommunications and other critical services, no? And finally, any ancillary services related to the foregoing. The usual question would be, lahat ba ng types of procurement covers sa bayanihan? My answer would be, yes, it covers goods, infra, or consulting, basta pasok ho doon sa 5 items na nabanggit ko, or ancillary. No, the often repeated question, ano ba yung ancillary? Ancillary simply means related po siya. So you have to be able to justify how what you plan to procure is related to. I'll give you an example. Letter D says, establishment, construction, and operation of temporary medical facilities. Ang ginawa po ng ating DPWH together with DOH, imbis po siya na mag-construct from scratch, ay re-repair lang ho siya or gumagawa siya ng from existing facilities, inaayos po niya para maging quarantine facilities. Because kailangan niya hong gawin yon, kailangan niya hong bumili ng mga construction supplies. Okay? Hindi ho nakalagay dito ang construction supplies, pero ancillary po siya. Dahil doon po, pwede ho niyang gamitin ng bayanihan procurement to be able to undertake letter D. Yan po ang example ng ancillary. Sino po ang magdedetermine nito? Yung pong procuring entity. Kasi ho, lahat ho ng pinoprocure natin ay dalawang bagay. Nakarelate po yan sa ating mandato. Okay? At tayo lang po, yung procuring entity lang po makakaalam ano yung mandato natin. And number 2, dahil identified po dito yung mga items under bayanihan, kayo lang ho, procuring entity lang ho, ang makapag-justify papaano siya analogous or related. So, importante po yan na tandaan natin. Now, you might say, wala kasi dyan yung aming item na bibilin. Pero, kailangan na namin siya. Anong pwede namin gawin? Pwede niyo pa rin kung gamitin ang ating emergency procurement under 9184. Bakit po? Kasi ho, unlike bayanihan procurement na na-identify niya yung mga bagay na covered, okay, or yung mga procurement projects na covered, sa emergency procurement under 9184, in-identify niyo ho yung conditions kung kailan pwede niyong gamitin yung rules. Ano ho yung mga conditions? Tatlo po. In case of imminent danger to life or property, under a state of calamity. Tandaan po natin, we are still under a state of calamity per Presidential Proclamation number 929 if I'm not mistaken. Kahit wala hong state of calamity or wala hong declaration ng state of calamity, pwede pa rin ho kayo mag-emergency procurement when time is of the essence arising from natural or man-made calamities. Okay? Kailangan ho na niyong urgently needed yon dahil kailangan niyong mag-respond sa isang natural or man-made calamity just like what we are experiencing right now kahit wala pa hong declaration ng state of calamity ang ating gobyerno. Or number 3, other causes. Hindi ho kailangan calamity siya where immediate action is necessary to prevent damage to or loss of life or property. And this is one thing I always highlight, to restore vital public services, infrastructure facilities, and other public utilities. Similar to the Bayanihan Procurement Rules, dito po ang procuring entity ang makapagsasabi kung yung bibili niya would relate to any of the 3 conditions. Kasi kayo po ang makakaalam kung time is of the essence. Kayo po ang makakaalam kung time is of the essence for you to be able to restore vital public services. Kasi po kayo po ang nakakaalam ng mandato ng ahensya ninyo. Right? So we've now clarified when do you use bayanihan and when do you use emergency procurement. In terms naman po of the process and documentary requirements, it's almost the same. But for this afternoon, I will emphasize on the bayanihan procurement. Okay. Insofar as the documentary requirements, simply lang po, nandyan po yan sa inyong screen, mayor's permit, income tax returns, at saka the omnibus sworn statement. Meron po tayong special template for omnibus sworn statement dahil meron po tayong added provision na nilagay when using for bayanihan procurement. Okay? So for goods and for consulting, A, B, and C po. Now, for infra, may additional po tayong requirement, letters D and E, the PICAB license, of course, and the net financing net financial contracting capacity po natin. Okay? Same lang po actually ang documentary requirements sa emergency procurement under 9184. Now, ano po ang basic na kaibahan? Ang basic pong kaibahan with the emergency procurement would be kung kailan po isasubmit itong mga documentary requirements. In the case of bayanihan procurement, lahat ho ng mga documentary requirements, pwede nyo hong submit at any time. Pwedeng during negotiation, during award, basta bago ho ang payment. That's one of the flexibilities that we have provided under the bayanihan procurement. Except for the omnibus sworn statement na kailangan pong ibigay or isubmit bago po mag-award. Bakit po? Kasi yan po ang basihan natin. Meron po mga commitments na nakalagay dyan para ho, yan po yung basihan natin to go after the bidder. Kung sakasakaling hindi niya tanggapin ng award, kung sakasakaling may problema po yung produkto na ibibigay niya sa atin later on. Now, common question, wala kaming makitang notaryo. Pwede bang hindi notarize ang omnibus sworn statement? Pwede po. Okay? Inallow po natin ang unnotarized omnibus sworn statement. You might ask, valid ba yon pag hindi notarized? Valid po siya. Notarization po doesn't validate the document. Notarization simply makes the document public. So ano pong ibig sabihin nun? Between you and the supplier, kahit hindi po siya notarized, actually, it's a valid commitment, it's a valid contract, it's a valid sworn statement. Kaya po natin inaalaw ang unnotarized sworn statement subject only to compliance thereafter. No? Kailangan po niyang i-comply yung notarization requirement later on to make the document public. And in fact, additional tidbit of information, pursuant to the administrative code, meron po tayong mga officials sa government na pwede hong mag-administer ng oath. Kaya ho, if you notice, katulad po sa aming opisina, ako po ang nag-administer ng oath sa lahat ng SALN ng empleyado po namin. Because for the executive department, directors up are actually allowed to administer the oath. Right? Now, you might ask, what about the mayor's permit? Paano kung wala pa? Naabutan din ng COVID yung mga LGUs, hindi pa nakapag-issue. Pinapayagan din po natin ang official receipt together with the renewal application. Pwede hong tanggapin yan. Now, what about the other documents? Income tax return, tsaka pick-up license, no, under Bayanihan Procurement. Unfortunately po, wala hong jurisdiction ang GPPB para ho i-allow ang pagbibigay or pagtanggap ng expired expired pick-up license. Okay? Yun naman pong mga income tax return, ang kailangan lang naman po dyan ay recent. Okay? Ano yung recent niya na income tax? So, ibig kong sabihin ko, na-extend naman ng BIR yung pagbabayad ng mga income tax return, yun pong huling na bayad ang pwede nating tanggapin. Yung pick-up po, wala pong authority dyan ng GPPB. At the same time, meron po kasi tayong batas on the issuance of a pick-up license. And when we ask for pick-up, ang sabi po nila, hindi po maaaring tanggapin ng expired na pick-up license kasi po there is no such thing as a temporary pick-up license. But perhaps also to provide additional information, I think, if I'm not mistaken po, PICAB has already launched the online renewal of pick-up license. Okay, online renewal pa lang po ang kanilang na-launch for pick-up license. So, check that out from PICAB. You may advise your suppliers na kung hindi pa sila nakapag-renew, they might want to avail of that online facility. Alright? Next, may we again ask for everyone to mute their audio? We still hear someone talking on the background. Now, questions. Kailangan ba ho ng bid, performance, and warranty security under the Bayanihan Procurement? The answer is no. Yan po yung bagay na pwede na nagawa ho ng Bayanihan Procurement. Dahil hindi ho siya covered ng 9184, nagkaroon ho kami ng authority para hindi i-require yung mga securities na to. Pero wag ho kayong mag-alala. It doesn't mean pwede na tayong basta-basta pwedeng basta-basta hindi na mag-comply ng commitments ang bidder. Bakit po? Remember what I said about the Omnibus Sworn Statement? Nakalagay ho dun sa Omnibus Sworn Statement lahat ng equivalent niyang commitment insofar as submitting the documents, insofar as accepting the award and performing and delivering in the obligation, and more importantly, providing for warranty provisions po doon sa kanyang mga i-deliver na goods. Now, at the same time, apart from the existing penalties for liquidated damages in case of delay, as well as blacklisting po, kapag nagkaroon siya ng violation sa mga commitment niya, meron din po tayong dinagdag na criminal liability sa ating Bayanihan Procurement Rule. Ano po yon? Kapag nagbigay kayo ng advance payment at hindi ho siya nag-deliver, pwede rin hong maging liable ang supplier for estafa under the revised penal code. Yun po yung nilagay namin isa ding commitment niya sa Omnibus Sworn Statement. So, while we were able to dispense with all of this bid, performance, and warranty security, hindi po basta-basta makakalusot ang ating supplier because there are penalties and recourses available to our procuring entities. Now, one of the innovations we have included in the rules would be the direct purchase of agricultural products from local farmers. One of the things that the board noticed when they were crafting these rules is that maraming ho nasisayang namang agricultural produce at the time, no? Dahil hindi po nakakarating sa Metro Manila. So, minabuti po natin because one of the Bayanihan procurement items is goods for social amelioration program, which may include the provision of relief goods. Pwede hong bumili na or ini-encourage ho natin bumili ang gobyerno directly from our local farmers. Ang kailangan lang ho niyang ipakita is any of the 3 items indicated, no? Ano po yung tatlong item yan? It basically shows proof na sila ay isang farmer. Okay? Meron po kasi tayong tinatawag na registry system for basic sectors in the agriculture under the Department of Agriculture. So, pwede ho silang mabigyan na ng ID, mabigyan ng certification, or certification po ng barangay na sila ay isang bona fide farmer. Yun lang po ang hihingi natin para po tayo ay magkaroon na or makapag-direct purchase ng agricultural products sa ating local farmers. Now, We also take note na wala hong official receipt ang ating mga farmers. Kaya po nilagay din namin sa rules na yun pong disbursement voucher na ating piniprepare for every procurement, kailangan po yung pirmahan ng farmer, and that will serve as both the invoice for the showing the quantity, description of articles, and total value, and it will be the proof of actual delivery as well as the receipt of payment by the farmers. So we encourage everyone po to implement this if you're still undertaking social amelioration projects in your agency or local government unit. Now, common tanong po, because COVID-19 has actually disrupted the supply chain of the entire world, global supply chain po ang na-disrupt. And we also see really the jump in the volume of the requirements. No? Yung mga bagay na hindi natin binibili na natin ngayon. Or yung dati binibili natin in hundreds, now we're buying in millions even in terms of quantity. Paano kung walang isang supplier makaka-deliver? Pwede ba tayong mag-source from several? Pwede po. Yan po isang mga bagay na kinlaro natin sa guidelines. If after conducting the initial market scanning or scoping, tinanong nyo na ho sa merkado, ilan ba ang kakayanan ng mga supplier na available at that time? And if you found that no one supplier is able to provide the total requirement, allowed po kayo to procure from several sources. And at the same time, it shall not be considered as splitting of contracts. All right. What are the other additional or special rules that we have provided? Meron po tayong tinatawag na special repeat order under the Bayanihan Procurement. Ano po yung special repeat order na yon? Simple lang po siya. Kung kasama po dun sa mga item na bibili nyo, yung mga item included in the Bayanihan Act, yung binention ko kaninang 5, or anything analogous to the 5, covered po kayo nito. Ano lang po ang kailangan? Meron na ho kayong na-award na similar item in the past 6 months. So meron na kayong notice of award in the past 6 months, regardless of the modality. No? Under the regular repeat order, kailangan public bidding. In this special repeat order, kahit ano po yung modality niyan, kahit pa siya small value, kahit pa ho siya limited source, pwede ho kayong mag-special repeat order. Okay? Pero tandaan po natin na yung unit price na gagamitin should be similar or even lower. Okay? At kung lower, kung similar lang po yung price from the price in the past from the past contract, dapat lang ho ma-double check ng agency na wala ng price lower in the market. Kasi kung may price lower in the market, hindi ho kayo pwedeng mag-special repeat order. Kailangan nyo hong mag-direct procurement, direct or negotiated procurement doon sa other supplier na yon. So hindi ho kayo magpa-public bidding. Again, dahil it covers the items under the Bayanihan, kung yung dati yung kontrata ay mas mahal dun sa existing ngayon, hindi ho kayo magre-repeat order dun sa dating supplier. Magde-direct negotiation lang po kayo dun sa other supplier with a cheaper or lower price. Okay? Importante din ho, meron ng partial delivery. So kung wala pa rin ho siyang partial delivery, hindi pa ho kayo pwedeng mag-special repeat order. And finally, the total amount of the new contract shall not exceed 100% of the original contract. So yan po yung ating special repeat order rule under the Bayanihan Procurement. Now, finally, pwede bang mag-advance payment? As mentioned earlier, pwede po tayo. Advance payment is allowed, not more than 30% under OP Memorandum Order number 48. However, for lease of venue, pwede ho tayo single advance payment of not more than 50% of the contract amount to be allowed for these contracts or services where the requirement of down payment is a standard industry practice, such as in the lease of real property or venue for use to house health workers, quarantine facilities, and the like. Right. Now, meron pa rin po pala tayong additional na questions that may be clarified under Bayanihan Procurement. Tanong po, kailangan ba ho ng APP pagka tayo nagbabayanihan procurement? As a rule po, yes. However, inalaw po natin sa rules natin na kahit wala pa hong approved APP, pwede na ho tayong mag-proceed basta ho meron kayong budget. meron ho kayong dokumento na nagpapatunay, a certification from your budget officer or equivalent position na may budget for that project. Kung meron pong ganong dokumento, pwede ho kayong mag-proceed ng procurement, subject lang ho sa approval ng APP at ipopost nyo po yung APP na yan sa ating GPPB online portal. You might ask, bakit po natin inallow tong mag-proceed ng procurement without the approved APP basta may budget? Because this is Bayanihan Procurement, time is of the essence. We recognize that they are procuring entities like GOCCs or SUCs na yung pong approval ng APP umaakyat pa ho sa kanilang board. It might take time. Some of the boards, they meet only once every quarter. So as not to delay the process, inallow po natin ang pag-procure without the approved APP basta meron po siyang budget. At the same time, because again, we need to always make sure that if we can streamline the processes, we streamline them. Meron din ho tayong delegation of authority sa nilagay sa ating Bayanihan Procurement. Ano yung delegation of authority? We notice, no, we've been seeing a lot of mayors, local chief executives going about, implementing all of their projects and making sure po maayos po ang kanilang mga constituents during this COVID pandemic. Kaya ho minabuti namin. At yun pong mga mayors or local chief executives, sila din ho ang ating hope. So minabuti natin para ho mabigyan ho sila ng sufficient time to do their other functions at hindi rin ho ma-delay ang procurement. Pwede ho nilang i-delegate. And we're in fact encouraging them to delegate to other individuals ang tatlong bagay po. Number 1, pag-approve ng APP para po mas mabilis. Number 2, to undertake the direct procurement or negotiations. Okay? Bakit to undertake? Kasi ho, di po ba, it's the BAC or the Bids and Awards Committee, by default, sila po ang nag-negotiate. Pwede ho yang i-delegate to another committee, bureau, and user unit or individual po ng HOPE. Depende ho kung ano ang mas efficient. Depende ho sa ahensya. And at the same time, pwede rin nyo i-delegate ang pagpipirma ng kontrata or pag-award ng kontrata. Okay? As long as, in case of delegation of the award of contract, hindi po pwede yung nag-recommend, yun din ang i-delegate niya. Okay? Kailangan ho ng checks and balance. So kung dinelegate niya po sa end user, kung dinelegate niya po sa end user ang negotiation or procurement, hindi po pwedeng yung end user din ang mag-award ng kontrata. Kasi there has to be checks and balance to avoid conflict of interest, right? Okay, now just to summarize and give you a general picture of how Bayanihan Procurement is undertaken. Simple lang po, 5 simple steps. As I mentioned earlier, tignan natin, covered ba ako ng Bayanihan Procurement? Kung hindi, you can do emergency procurement. Kung hindi, you can do other modalities. Number 2, conduct market survey. Bakit po? Kasi ho, as I mentioned, na-disrupt ang ating supply chain. Face mask last year would be like centavos. Face mask last January is like 7 pesos. Face mask right now, the medical grade surgical mask is 22 pesos right now in the market. So, importante yung malaman ninyo kung magkano ba ang going amount. Kasi ho, magiging mali ang ABC ninyo kapag hindi ho kayo nag-conduct ng survey. At the same time, tignan nyo rin ho, baka walang supplier o walang isang supplier na pwedeng mag-supply or mag-provide ng mga requirements niyo. So, importante po natin yan i-conduct. Third, check your budget. Update your APP. Fourth, negotiate with the supplier. Look for the documents I mentioned earlier. And once you've submitted the documents, then you determine if they are legally, financially, and technically capable. Legally, yung mga documents na mention ko, omnibus form statement, mayor's permit. Financially, kung kinakailangan ng NFCC. Okay? Technically, kung ano yung mga technical requirements natin. Meron ba siyang FDA clearance, etc., etc. And finally, you award and deliver the contract. Ganyan lang po kasimple ang Bayanihan Procurement. Now, I mentioned earlier about the GPPB online portal. Ano po ba itong GPPB online portal? It's a portal that we have created. You go to gppb.gov.ph, one word, gppb.gov.ph.com. Pwede ho diyang mag-register ang procuring entities, mandatory po. Suppliers, pwede po, optional. CSOs, optional. Okay? If you just want to view, you don't have to register. Anyone, any member of the public can view this portal. I'll show you later on. What is the purpose of the portal? It's really for transparency. Okay? But at the same time, as I will show you later, pwede rin po itong gamitin for market survey, market scanning, or scoping. Kasi meron hong mga items na nakapost doon on the product listings available to the suppliers registered in the portal. So we encourage everybody to encourage suppliers, procuring entities, and even CSOs to register. Mabilis lang po ang pagre-register. Just go to the website at madali lang ho siyang makita how to register. But more importantly, what is mandatory is for the procuring entities using Bayanihan Procurement, regardless of funding source. Basta ho ginamit nyo yung Bayanihan Procurement rules, you have to post on the portal award of contracts together with the following procurement information. All right? Just to show you what is the value if you're a supplier, procuring entity, or even the public of the portal, you can actually see based po sa aming registration as of last night na bibo po ang mga municipalities natin because 43.9% of the registration in the portal are municipalities. Okay, you can also see the types of government entities that were able to award contracts in the portal. Municipalities pa rin po ang number 1. Out of the 5.2 billion total ABC posted, there's already an award of 4.4 billion. So in terms of efficiency, meron ho tayong quote-unquote savings of 806 million. No? If you are to compare the ABC as against the total awarded contract price. You can also see the types or the items of procurement being posted. Number 1 is supply and delivery of relief goods at 655 million. And you can also see the name of the entity with the most number of contract costs. Hindi lang ho yan isang project, marami ho yan. There's a total contract awarded by the city of Taguig, 1.5 billion. And you can also see the top suppliers with the most amount of awarded projects. Hindi lang ho siya isang project, it's actually several projects. Now, I'll very quickly share with you what the website looks like. Ito po siya. So if you want to see awarded contracts, you go to awarded contracts. Okay. Medyo matagal po. Buffering. So you can look at the awarded contracts po natin. Yan. So medyo buffering lang po siya. I mentioned earlier, project listing. You can also look here at market listing and see ano yung available. So if you want to look at PPEs, you can actually look at the price, available quantity, location stock, and the name of the supplier. Okay. What else? Some procuring entities also post their project requirements. Para din ho makita siya ng supplier. So pwede niyo hong makita. So we have here, okay, project requirements just for purposes of viewing. Okay. Kahit sino po sa atin, I did not register, if I did not log in, if you notice. I just went to the website gpppgovph.com and you can see already. There's also total amount of awarded contracts here. As I mentioned, it's about 4 billion pesos. Now let's go back to our presentation. So that's the GPPB online portal. We are still upscaling the portal to be able to use for the other reforms that the GPPB and the TSO is implementing. Now, let's go to the other measures that the board has implemented. So, tapos na po tayo sa Bayanihan Procurement. We're now going to the other measures na pwede niyong gamitin for any other modality. But before that, maybe one thing I would like to clarify because there seems to be a confusion is a lot of people have been asking, applicable ba ba yung Bayanihan Procurement rules? We are following the provision of the law po. Section 11, if I'm not mistaken, of the circular refers to the provision of the law. And the Bayanihan Act po said it shall be valid for 3 months. So because it was posted or published, so it by provision of law po, lahat po ng batas valid only upon publication. Since nakalagay po doon sa batas, it's valid immediately. So that's immediately upon publication. So that was published March 25. So, sabi po sa batas, 3 months ang kanyang effectivity. So, you count 3 months, valid po siya hanggang June 23. Bakit po 23? Bakit hindi June 25? Because under the Civil Code, when you talk of months, you talk of 30 days. So, if it's 3 months, we count po 90 days from March 25. That gives us June 23 as the validity of the Bayanihan Act. Therefore, that also is the shared validity of the Bayanihan Procurement Rules. Kasi nilagay po namin sa circular na hanggat valid po, unless po siya ay ma-extend ng Kongreso, valid lang po ang ating Bayanihan Procurement Rules until June 23. But as mentioned by Yusek Tina earlier, there's actually a pending bill in Congress for Bayanihan We Recover as One Act. So that's Bayanihan 2. One of the provisions there would be extending special procurement rules until December 31, 2020. So we wait until that bill is passed into law. Meantime, the Bayanihan procurement rules will be valid until its effectivity pursuant to the law. Okay? Now, let's park the Bayanihan procurement rules for a while. Let's now go to the other measures. Ano po yung other measures na pwede nating gawin for all the other procurement projects, hindi lang bayanihan or COVID-related. So number 1 po, as mentioned kanina ni Yusek Tina, partially, you have to assess and review all of your procurement projects, whether planned or ongoing, because of NBC 580. Interestingly, in our issuance, nilagay po natin assess and review all of your projects because of NBC 580 and such other future issuances. So just in case po may second wave, as mentioned kanina ni Director Aimee, we encourage you to assess and review all of your planned and ongoing procurement projects. Bakit po siya importante? Very, very easily because baka wala na ho kayong budget. Okay? Baka tinanggal na. Discontinue na po. Terminate na. Or, kahit ho natira ho siya, baka ho natanggalan siya ng 10%. Okay? As explained kanina ni Yusek Tina, meron po tayong, kailangan po natin mag-offer ng 10% of our budget. Or kahit hindi po siya na-discontinue, hindi po siya natanggalan, you may want to also revisit your priorities. Kailangan po ba siyang ituloy, given the new normal? Kailangan ko pa ba siya? Okay, baka meron na kayong procurement na hindi yun na kailangan mo nang i-proceed. Okay, baka may mga activities kayo. Baka hindi yun na kailangan mo nang mag-undertake ng mga events. Kung meron kayong malaking conference or events, hindi yun na kailangan ituloy yun. So, you have to revisit and assess all of your procurement projects. Number 2, take advantage of all existing facilities authorized by the board. As shown on the screen, as early as 2018, pinayagan na po natin ng virtual meeting kasi we recognize na ang mga members ng BAC are very busy individuals. Marami ho silang mga official functionaries na ginagawa at the same time. Pero hindi ho ibig sabihin, hindi na magkakaroon ng quorum ang BAC. So even if you're in Japan, for instance, on official business, pwede ho kayong mag-BAC through virtual meetings. Okay? And this is complemented by the use of digital signature in our 2019 resolution. Yan po yung example ng digital signature. There's added security feature po. If you use the digital signature is the one we use when referring to the one where you register with the DICT because there's a PKI, okay? Public Key Infrastructure. Okay? But in GPPB Resolution 09-2020, pinayagan na rin ho natin ng other forms. Ibig kong sabihin, whether digital, electronic, pwede na rin ho gamitin yan for all procurement-related documents. Hindi po namin pwedeng masagot yung mga other than procurement-related documents. Okay? At the same time, we've also allowed for the electronic submission of documents and bids. Okay? For the electronic submission of documents, madali lang po yan. Gusto niyo, kailangan niyo magbasabit ng documents for post-qualification, pwede hong by email. Okay? So we already tap or leverage technology by using available technologies around to be able to finish or complete our procurement. But more importantly, inalaw din po natin ng electronic submission of bids. Ano po yung ibig sabihin nun? Pwede na ho online din mag-submit ng mga bids. Meron lang hong additional requirements kasi we need to ensure the confidentiality, the security, the authenticity, okay, of the documents, of the bids submitted, kasi meron hong bids na kasama dito. Hindi lang ho siya simpleng dokumento. So ano po yung condition? Tatlo po siya. Kailangan pong gagamit ang bidder ng two-factor security procedure consisting of an archive format compression and password protection. Number 1. Number 2, kailangan ho may access to a password-protected bidding documents. Ano po yung ibig sabihin ng 1 and 2? Simply put po yan, number 1 condition, dapat ho encrypted yung bid. Ibig sabihin, haba ho siyang sinasubmit online, hindi ho siya nakikita or nababasa, okay, ng mga naninilip sa online system. Kasi meron siyang encrypted po siya, okay? At dahil encrypted po siya, number 2 requires na ma-decrypt siya using a password na ibibigay lang ho ng bidder during the opening of the bids. Okay? And number 3, kailangan ho, meron siyang audit trail of transaction. Pwede ho nating makita at ma-print kung kailan siya sinubmit ng bidder. Okay? Para ho kung may question or may issue, kung late ang submission, yun po ang titignan natin, yung ating audit trail nung pag-transmit electronically ng bids. Okay? Ano po yung mga requirements other than this? Kailangan ho mag-submit ng ahensya electronically through this email address ng certification. Ano po yung certification? Meron ho tayong template. Just follow the template, submit to us. The agency need only to submit one time, okay, and list their agency with several box. So list all of the procuring entities that would adopt the electronic bid submission. Kung halimbawa, you need to update, pwede ho kayo mag-submit ulit. Okay, what is the purpose of this certification and submission? Para ho ma-document namin at magkaroon ho kami ng data kung sino-sino mga ahensya ang nag-online or nag-electronic bid submission na. So yan po yung ating electronic bid submission. Why are we doing this? Because while we are modernizing our PhilJeps, hindi pa ho siya operational at this point in time. Okay, hopefully po in time, ma-operational na po ang ating online facility, especially the e-reverse auction facility of the modernized PhilJeps. But when we asked po the last time, hindi pa ho siya operational. Kaya ho, may nabuti naming mag-recommend sa board ng temporary stopgap measure, which is the authority to allow for electronic bid submission. At the same time, as I mentioned earlier, we are upscaling our portal. We will also launch later on the online bid submission through the portal. So, meron tayong electronic, yun yung tatlong condition na binanggit ko kanina. Meron din ho tayong online. Sa online po, sasubmit lang ho online through the portal. We will issue the rules later on. We are now under taking beta testing for the online bid submission of the online submission of bids to the GPPB online portal. So hopefully soon po malabas namin yung rules basta ho ma-final na ho yung aming testing for the online portal. Okay. Next, apart from the electronic bid submission, meron din ho tayong nilagay na alternative documentary requirements. Ano pong ibig sabihin ng alternative documentary requirements? Kahit ano pa ho ang modality ginagamit ninyo, kung kasama dun sa mga dokumentong nilagay namin yung documents, instead of the original, the one required under the rules, pwede nyo hong i-require tong alternate. Kaya ho siya alternative documentary requirements. Tatandaan nyo ho, lahat po ng mga requirements na to, pwedeng gamitin during a state of calamity, whether national or local, or implementation of community quarantine or similar restrictions. So whether ECQ, MECQ, GCQ, pwede ho siyang gamitin. So mga alternative requirements na to. Okay? Ang back ho magdedetermine kung merong state of calamity or may community quarantine at pwede ho siyang mag-require ng submission of documents as proof. Okay, ano itong mga alternative documentary requirements? A notarized bid securing declaration, expired mayor's permit with official receipt and renewal application, a notarized omnibus sworn statement, okay, performance securing declaration. Okay. Ayan, meron pong nag-uusap. Paki-mute lang po ang ating audio for participants.
Okay ka, no?
Pwede pong pa-off yung audio. Alright. Paki-off lang po.
Sika? Sika?
Pwede pong,
Sika? Dalag jay.
pwede,
Kita sa nungay nga to din nga makita.
Ang kababandatang ito ni malibid alas 4 kay kiting.
Sige po.
Hello? Hello? Pwede paki-off po yung lahat ng microphones ng participants except yung kay Attorney Weng.
Baka ni Dennis di chay.
po.
May mga naka-off. May mga naka-on kasi.
Yes. Okay po.
Ma'am, proceed na Ma'am Weng.
Yan. All right. Thank you po. Now, for the performance securing declaration, may mga, right now po, banks are not open every day. Baka may mga bidders tayo, hindi makasubmit ng kanilang mga performance security. Pwede ho, nagbigay ho tayo ng allowance sa kanila by introducing the performance securing declaration. Use po the form in the circular. Iba ho kasi yung form under framework agreement. So use the form under the circular. Pwede na ho tayong tumanggap ng performance securing declaration in lieu of performance security. Pag ho, okay na si bidder, pwede niyo hong palitan yung PSD niya with the performance security. Okay? Allowed under RA 9184. Okay? Pwede na ho niya yung i-replace upon the lifting of the state of calamity or community quarantine or similar restriction. Okay? Ito po yung format ng performance securing declaration. Kopyahin nyo lang po at papirmahan nyo sa ating bidder. Hindi ho kailangan siyang notarize, pero kailangan nyo i-notarize later on. Except kung i-replace niya na ng performance security. Okay? So pwede ho kayong tumanggap ng performance securing declaration. Kung hindi niya man-notarize, okay lang po yun. Pero papanotarize nyo later. Okay? Except kung papalitan niya na ho ito ng performance security. Okay? Bond, etc. Hindi na ho kailangan pa-notarization kasi ni-replace na niya. Okay? So yun po yung ating alternate documentary requirements. Let's now go to another action that the bank may undertake under Resolution 2020. Naka-on po ulit siya. Paki-off po ulit yung mga mic. Now, marami ho kami natatanggap na tanong, paano pag hindi kami makapag-bidding? Lahat ng staff namin nagkasakit or hindi kami very dangerous, hindi kami makapagtuloy ng bidding or walang sumasali sa aming bidder. Okay, so, pwede na ho kayong mag-allow ng suspension ng conduct of the procurement activities adversely affected. Take note, procurement activities, whether pre-bid conference, whether opening, whether post-qual, procurement activity po yan, basta this is adversely affected or interrupted by the declaration of the state of calamity or implementation of the community quarantine. Pwede ho itong gawin at any time during the existence of such calamity. Okay, habang merong calamity or merong quarantine, pwede ho kayong magsuspend ng procurement activities. Ano lang po yung condition? Number 1, either of the two po. So, number 1, kailangan syempre meron community quarantine or state of calamity. Number 2, any of the two exist. No bidder will be able to submit a bid or comply with the requirements of the procurement due to the limitations resulting from such declaration or implementation of such restrictions. Okay? Ano po ibig sabihin nun? Walang bidder na makasubmit ng bid or makakomply sa requirements, hindi dahil hindi siya eligible. Kung hindi dahil hindi niya magawa ito, resulting from the declaration of the state of calamity or imposition of the community quarantine. Or, so that's on the part of the bidder or on the part of the procuring entity, hindi kayo makapag-undertake or makapagtuloy ng procurement activities without endangering the health and welfare of your personnel, site of work from home or other alternative arrangement. Okay? Next. Anong kailangan nyo gawin? Kailangan nyo lang mag-notify sa lahat ng prospective bidders. Sabihan ninyo siya ng notice. At the same time, mag-post kayo sa website ng agency. At ang ilalagay nyo is suspension of the conduct of the specific procurement activity for a specific project. So, pre-bid conference for Project A. Estimated date of resumption, estimate lang po para may idea ang ating mga prospective bidders kung kailan pwede magtuloy, and the implication of such suspension. Ibig sabihin, pwede nyo ilagay na dahil magsususpend tayo, roughly about a month or 2 or 3 months, kailangan nyo ma-extend ng bid security or bid validity. Okay? So, kailangan nyo ma-inform si bidder. Pwede hong ma-extend ang delivery period kasi longer delivery period na, okay, than originally expected. Okay. Now, this is very important. Given the COVID-19 pandemics, so take note, the suspension provision is applicable not only for COVID, but for any state of calamity or any imposition of community quarantine or similar restriction. Okay, any po pwede po siya. Okay, but with respect to COVID pandemic, inallow po natin ng retroactive suspension from March 9. Kasi po dyan po nag-declare ang Pangulo natin ng public health emergency throughout the Philippines. So halimbawa, kung nakapag-back meeting lang kayo ng May, pwede ho kayo during that back meeting isuspend ninyo retroactively. From the time na-determine ninyo, any of the two, na-determine ninyo na no bidder will be able to submit or you cannot conduct procurement activities. So, once you've determined that, pwede ho kayo nung May or kahit ngayon, mag-suspend kayo retroactively effective, say, April. Pwede ho yan. Okay? Now, ano ho yung effect ng suspension? The effect of that is the tolling of the procurement periods. Ano ba yung procurement periods? Nasa batas po kasi natin. Batas po siya, hindi lang siya rules. Na kailangan nung matapos natin ang procurement activity from opening until the end in a period of 3 months. And at the same time, may period din po tayo for award of contracts. So, yung po mga periods na to na mandatory sa ating batas, masususpend din po siya. Okay, yan po ang effect ng tolling of periods. Okay? Now, the suspension of the conduct of procurement activities shall be lifted upon determination of the BAC that the basis for the suspension no longer exists. So, kung ang reason mo for suspension is
Sila
the BAC
yan?
is not
So, dahil
pa-off po, yeah. Okay. If halimbawa po na na-determine ng BAC na okay, kaya na ulit naming magtuloy ng procurement activity, so pwede na hong i-lift yun kahit meron pa hong state of calamity. Okay? Or pwede rin yung hintayin, depende sa determination ng BAC, yung lifting ng state of calamity or community quarantine. Nasa sa inyo po yan. Basta, once you've decided to lift the suspension, kailangan nyo hong i-notify lang ang ating mga prospective bidders at i-post nyo ang notice of resumption sa inyong website. Or kung wala kayong website in any conspicuous place in the premises of the procuring entity. Okay? Tandaan lang po natin, once ma-lift yung suspension, the period will run again. You will not be given fresh period time. No, you will only be given the period left. What does it mean? Bigyan natin ng example. Kung nag-opening kayo ng May 12, at 16 days after on May 28, you were undertaking post-qualification and the PAC decided we cannot proceed, we have to suspend, and you issued a notice of suspension on May 29, so suspended po by May 29. Kung nagkaroon kayo ng notice of resumption by June 30, yung period na yon from May 29 to June 30 is suspended or tolled. Because of that, instead of the original August 10, which is the period by which dapat maximum period allowed for the completion of the procurement project, pa-turn off po, okay, meron pong naka-on na audio, pa-turn off lang natin. Okay. Kung halimbawa po, na nag-notice of resumption kayo, okay, by June 30, instead of August 10 po yung inyong maximum period, okay, to complete the procurement, may extend po siya to September 12, corresponding to the period, okay, that was told. Okay, so yan po yon. Now, apart from suspension, what else can you do? Finally, what the other measure that you can do is to cancel or terminate the procurement activity. Okay? Without prejudice po to Section 35.1 of the rules. Ano po ibig sabihin ng Section 35.1 of the rules? Sabi po sa Section 35, pwede ho kayo mag Alright, minute po ako ng host. Okay. Pwede ho kayong, ang sabi po sa Section 35, failure, without prejudice to failure of bidding, pwede ho kayo mag-declare ng failure of bidding kung wala hong nag-submit ng bid, kung meron ho pero walang eligible, kung merong eligible pero wala hong na-qualify or na-post-qualify, kung meron hong post-qualify pero hindi ho tinanggap yung award, pwede ho kayo mag-failure of bidding. Without prejudice to those four, pwede rin po kayong mag-cancel or terminate ng procurement activity. One thing I want to emphasize, dito po, itong cancellation, pwede nyo hong gamitin at any time. Hindi ho kailangan ng state of calamity para ho kayo mag-cancel. Unlike suspension, that's really for instances when there's state of calamity or imposition of community quarantine. Ang cancellation po, anytime, any modes, pwede po siya. Ano po yung mga grounds? The grounds is similar to the reservation clause. Physical and economic conditions have significantly changed so as to render the project no longer economically, financially, or technically feasible as determined by the end user. So take note, it's only the BAC that would cancel or terminate based on these grounds, based upon consultation with the end user. Second, the project is no longer necessary as determined by the end user. Third, the source of funds, okay? Pwedeng na NBC 580 kayo, has been withheld. Number 4, brought about by the declaration of the state of calamity or implementation of community quarantine. So you might ask, anong difference sa reservation clause? Ang reservation clause po is given to the HOPE. Kaya siya given sa HOPE because sa reservation clause po, meron ng recommendation ng BAC. So kung the grounds are already existing before you even recommend, pwede na ho kayo mag-terminate. You don't have to wait. So yung iba ho kasi napansin namin, because the reservation clause requires a recommendation from the BAC, itutuloy pa ho nila, okay? And then papaakyatin sa HOPE, and then the HOPE will be the one to exercise the reservation clause. You don't have to wait for that. You just, if the grounds exist already at any point of the procurement process, the BAC in consultation with the end user can already cancel or terminate. Okay, again, this is not only during state of calamity, may be done also at any regular times for any procurement for any modality, right? So finally, I'll discuss to you the simplified posting and electronic submission of the reports to the GPPB. Just take note of these important deadlines. These are the new deadlines. The first one, for any change in the 2020 APP for the first semester, it's now September 30. Changes in the second semester would be 31 March of next year. For the 2021 APP, 31 March na po tayo instead of January. Okay. For the 2020 PMR, for the first semester, 30 September na po. And then 31 March next year for the second semester. And the 2019 APCPA results, in-extend po namin siya ng 30 June 2020. Malapit na po siya. Okay? So take note. Okay? Screenshot niyo. Ito yung mga bagong date of submission. Deadline. Now, what are the general guidelines? You should not be submitting to us any physical document. You just submit to us electronic file with an Excel and PDF. Kailangan ho namin Excel because we get the data from the Excel file and we use it for our data analytics. Ginagamit po namin yan. So, for us to be able to save on time encoding them, we need the Excel file. Okay? When there's conflict po in the data, we use the PDF file. The PDF file is the one that would govern. Kasi pwede hong na-edit or na-revise yung Excel na hindi sinasadya. Okay? So, kailangan nyo i-submit ang inyong APP, PMR, and APCPI results electronically in Excel and PDF to the following email address. Kanya-kanya hong email, wag niyo hong i-mix and match. Kasi kung mali ang email, hindi ho namin siya ma-recognize. Okay? And then, apart from the electronic submission to the board, to the GPPB, kailangan nyo din hong mag-post ng inyong APP and PMR. Dalawa lang ho. APP sa transparency seal ng website ng ahensya, PMR sa website. Kahit saan po, kayo po ang magde-decide. Okay? Apart from that, kailangan mong mag-submit sa amin ng back secretariat head ng certification na na-post niya to ensure transparency. We already prescribed the posting certification template. Kopyahin lang po at pirmahan once complied. Okay? Hindi na ho kami magtatanggap, hindi na ho kami magpo-post ng mga procurement reports sa aming website. At hindi na rin ho kami tatanggap ng printed copies. Okay? For the health and safety po ng aming mga tao sa GPPB TSO, at the same time, to ensure po the efficiency in the submission. Mas mabilis po yan. Okay? Meron ho kaming auto-generated acknowledgement kapag nag-submit na kayo as your proof of submission. And then, what we will do instead is we will only post a list of all complying PEs. Meron ho kaming positive list na ilalagay namin sa website. Hindi namin ipopost ang inyong APP or PMR. Magkakaroon lang ho kami ng positive list for those that submitted the APP, PMR, and APCPI results. Request for copy of the said report shall be made directly to the procuring entity concerned. Hindi po kami ang magbibigay ng kopya ng report. Any request for certification, confirmation, or statement of compliance on the submission of the reports shall be referred to the GPPB website for the list of complying procuring entities, which may be printed by any interested party. Right? So, I will end here with respect to the submission of the reports. I just wanted to inform everybody, ongoing pa ho ang aming online training of our trainers. We will be on our third batch this Friday, June 19. The last batch is June 26, in case any of you are one of our recognized GPPB trainers. But apart from that, we have our online ugnayan series. We had our first online ugnayan with the Department of Agriculture. Exclusive po to one-on-one discussion with the GPPB TSO. Kung gusto niyo hong magpa-schedule, please email the person or the contact with the email address provided on your screen. But apart from this training for trainers, we also, and online ugnayan, we also conduct webinars like what we're doing right now. We'll probably be able to issue our GPPB TSO webinar series. Hopefully po, makapag-start kami by August. Okay, but meantime, we are undertaking this. And of course, finally, we already have our social media accounts. Visit us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Doon po namin pinopost lahat ng mga issuances. Meron din po kaming mga infographic materials, FAQs, opinions, lahat po nilalagay namin sa aming Facebook account, including the recording of some of the webinars and lectures that we have done so far. And also, I want to take this opportunity to introduce to you Billy Bayong, ang aming mascot ng GPPB TSO. So, Billy Bayong, Billy is the play on the word Bili. So, Billy. So, medyo para mas madali siyang sabihin. And of course, Bayong because we are procuring and para magkaroon ng Filipino touch. So, yun lang po. We will now be open to questions. So, thank you so much.
Okay. So thank you so much, Attorney Weng, our Executive Director of the Government Procurement Policy Board, with your 55 slides. Wow, that was a very comprehensive discussion indeed, Attorney Weng. Now, before we go to the open forum, may I remind our dear participants to accomplish the evaluation sheet in the GPPB TSO Online Training Management System. Yung link na yan was provided to you by the Secretariat where you also registered as a participant for this afternoon. So please don't forget to accomplish the evaluation sheet as we are about to wind up our session. But we still have a few more minutes for an open forum. Before I read some questions on the chat group, Ma'am Weng, there's a question. Can they be furnished copy of the presentation materials mo?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay.
We usually post for the presentations on our social media accounts after every webinar. Or
Okay.
we will just provide also NUCESO a copy.
Okay, so that's clear. So we can access the presentation, the 55 slides of Attorney Weng. So question number 1. Kung wala pa ho from the audience, mayroon na ba magre-raise ng question or magbasa muna ako ng question from the chat group? Okay, so dito muna sa chat group. First question, Ma'am Weng. Up to what period can we post our procurement under the Bayanihan Act in the GPPB portal?
Under the current rules po, wala po tayong deadline. You just have to submit po as soon as possible kasi ho, we report to Congress. At hinihingi na ho
Okay.
yun ng Kongreso. Just take note po, in the Bayanihan 2, meron hong naka-identify na period na. So, bag kayong ma-confuse, the moment po na ma-approve yung Bayanihan 2, meron hong 7-day period po of posting, if I'm not mistaken, in the draft bill. So for now, wala ho kaming ini-impose na period, pero you need to be able to submit as soon as possible kasi po we submit reports to Congress. Okay? We will be issuing, or we have issued an advisory on this po. I recall approving the advisory to remind everybody because we noticed po, mas compliant po ang local government units kesa sa mga national government agencies when it comes to posting sa Bayanihan, sa GPPB online portal. But the moment po Bayanihan 2 kicks in, meron po tayong period for posting.
Okay, so thank you very much for that clarification. That question came from Belen Garcia of DOST Region 3. Ma'am Weng, the next question is from National Power Corporation. You discussed earlier yung submission of certification on e-bidding using a 3-step process. Ang question niya, mayroon na bang nag-comply? Mayroon na bang
Submit.
nag-admit, yes, using this
Nag-submit.
process
Meron na po.
from
Marami-
National Power Corporation?
Marami na pong nag-submit na mga agencies ng certification po sa amin. I'm actually looking at the report. I usually ask for a weekly report on this. Hindi ko lang po makita, but meron na po tayong certification submitted on this.
Okay, so far those were the questions in the chat group. Mayroon lang request, siguro makaprovide yung secretariat natin dyan sa NUCESO. Kung pwede daw ma-post dito sa link yung attendance sheet. So galing ito kay Daisy Luke Quinio from DOST CAR. Okay, are there other questions from our other participants? Okay, Ma'am Rita, you are recognized. Please mute your microphone, ma'am, before you speak. Para marinig ka ho.
Unmute.
Unmute, I mean, yes.
Wala pa akong question.
Ba't nag-raise hand ka, ma'am?
Kasi may dumaan po.
Okay. I thought you have a question.
Sorry.
Okay. Sino ba? Mayroon dito, ma'am. So from National Power Corporation again, is the submission of procurement monitoring report in Excel file not required before the implementation of GPPB Circular 2-2020?
For PMR po, alam ko meron na pong Excel file.
Okay.
So, henceforth, lahat po ng sasubmit ninyo should have, I'm not too sure, but I'm not too sure po nung before kung ano yung language ng issuance, but henceforth po, because we extended the deadlines, lahat po ng sasubmit yung PMR should have both the Excel and the PDF. Kasi mandatory na po yan.
Okay, so I hope that was clear to our participant from NPC who raised that question. Another one, paano po kung ang bid ng bidder with password ay hindi mabuksan during the bid opening?
Yes.
From NPC again.
Thank you for the question. In my other webinar, since longer po yung period, I was able to discuss the details, no? But very quickly, our guidepost po for agency is whatever po the rules for manual submission, you also adopt for electronic, what is most analogous. The most analogous po for this one is the pagka nag-open kayo ng bid na wala hong nakalagay. So in this case po, kung halimbawa nung binuksan po ng procuring entity and nasira po yung electronic submission, hindi ho siya mabasa. Therefore, hindi po siya compliant kasi wala po kayong makitang bid. So, analogous to the manual submission na kapag inopen niyo wala hong laman, okay, or naka-blanco po siya, you will consider it as not responsive. So, therefore, hindi po siya magiging compliant sa ating rules.
Okay, so that was clear. That was a question from NPC again. Yung another question from Daisy Lu Quenyo. In relation to the allowable delivery extension, do we still have to follow what was stated in RA 9184 or is extension fixed at 60 days? This is a question, ma'am, from DOST CAR.
Wala po tayong provision sa batas or sa rules on extension of delivery period because the period for delivery is set by the procuring entity. Okay, so hindi ko po alam kung ano yung basis niyo for saying that there is a delivery period extension of 60 days that is fixed.
Yeah.
Wala po niyan sa batas or sa rules. Yan po ay ina-identify ng bawat ahensya. You can allow for an extension depending on the circumstances or the justification by the supplier. Kayo po yung magde-decide nun.
Yeah, just like the recent state of calamity, Ma'am Weng, where the LGU was declared under ACQ, so limited yung movements. So pwede siya ma-extend yung delivery period upon request of the supplier and approval of the procuring entity. Is that correct, Ma'am Weng?
Yes, ma'am. Ang atin pong extension of the delivery period for any procurement, implementation of any procurement project is always dependent on the procuring entity and on the justification of the supplier. Ibig sabihin, case-to-case basis siya.
Correct. Correct.
Kaya hindi po natin pwedeng ilagay na
Ilagay sa-
fix siya sa any period in the
Okay.
rules.
So that's clear. I hope Ma'am Daisy was able to capture that loud and clear. Okay. Another, sino ba itong nagtanong? Wala, hindi makita yung pangalan. For reports in Excel format, we cannot affix our signature, our e-signature. Is that acceptable? From JC Sikat.
The board already authorized po digital or electronic signature. So wala na po tayong reason, unlike before, na hindi po tayo pumirma. Also, I want to clarify that. Also, I want to take advantage of this opportunity to say, meron din po kaming question na, pag ba nag-submit sa amin using digital signature, kailangan pa namin i-require yung original later. A digital signature po is original signature. Okay? A digital signature is the equivalent of a handwritten signature. Hindi po siya duplicate or anything. So, hindi nyo kailangan mag-require ng original because a digital signature is an original signature. Okay? As long as ma-validate nyo siya at ma-authenticate nyo siya later on during post-qualification of the document. Okay?
Okay, so thank you again, once again, ma'am. A reminder again to our participants, please accomplish the evaluation of the resource person at bit.ly.gppb TSO-OTMS control number 2020-BL-TSO-0609-11988. Kindly refer to the chat column, chat group column. Meron po dyan yung mga control number para madali kayong makapag-accomplish ng evaluation form. Okay? Another question. May humahabol na mga questions, Ma'am Weng, with our few minutes left. Does the online electronic submission also cover the alternative mode of procurement, or is it strictly for competitive bidding?
Thank you for the question. Kaya po tayo nagkakaroon ng electronic bid submission kasi po meron tayong two envelope system. Ang meaning po, doon lang po tayo sa may two envelope system, mag-electronic bid submission kasi sinisecure natin yung bid. Ano po yung may two envelope system? Public bidding, two failed biddings, list of property, and community participation. Yun lang po ang may two envelope system. So anything else ho na walang two envelope system, hindi niyo ho kailangan ng electronic bid submission kasi ho wala hong bid na sinasubmit doon. Okay, kuha po natin. So doon lang po sa may two envelope system tayo. nag-a-adapt ng electronic or online bid submission because kailangan ho nating ma-secure yung kanyang bid submission and other documents included therewith. Okay?
Okay, so again, thank you. That was from DSWD Region 6. Okay, going. More questions from our participants. So far, medyo hindi gaano kadami yung questions, Ma'am Weng, kasi sinagot na natin yung mga possible questions by issuing advance non-policy matter issuances and even resolutions and circulars. Kinapture na yung mga possible questions. Very good. Ito, mayroong humahabol again. Also from JC, from DOST Region 3, would GPPB require all electronic signatures to DICT registered?
As explained earlier, last year we allowed for DICT digi-signature. So digital signature po through DICT kasi meron siyang PKI, Public Infrastructure, so secured po yung ating signature. However, recently po under 09-2020, inalaw natin other forms. So as long as it is the digital signature or electronic signature, whether it's DICT or elsewhere, pwede ho siya. Okay? As long as you also make sure sa part ng procuring entity na meron ho kayong protocols to ensure the authenticity and the security of the signature. Okay, okay po kami doon. Wala po kaming problem.
Okay. Sige. So, that's clear, Sir JC.
Also, Director Amy,
Ma'am.
for all those listening, in case po nahiya kayong magtanong or meron ho kayong nakalimutan tanongin ngayon, meron ho kaming open site. Lagi po siyang open, wala ho siyang closing date. Go to slido.com, slido.com. Use the hashtag Government Procurement PH. Doon niyo po ilagay ang inyong question. What we do po is we come up with FAQs, frequently asked questions. We post this on our website as well as our social media account, particularly Facebook and Twitter. So doon po namin pwedeng sagutin yung mga question ninyo. So apart from the Zoom chat group, meron din po kaming platform na OTMS, that's our Online Training Management System. Kung nag-register po kayo doon, pwede kayong magtanong. Kung hindi kayo nag-register, pwede lang po kayong pumunta sa slido.com, hashtag Government Procurement PH. Kung ayaw niyo pa rin ho ng Slido, punta ho kayo sa GPPB online portal. Meron hong comment section. Mag-comment po kayo doon. So marami ho kaming mga platforms available para ho kayo magtanong. We gather all of your questions. We come up with our infographics, FAQs. We post the answers on our website and social media platform.
Okay, so thank you again, Ma'am Weng. So indeed, no reason for us not to forward our concerns, comments, suggestions, especially clarifications. Okay, so it's only then also that our GPPB can be more responsive and be able to clarify kung alam nila yung mga gray areas pa sa baba as we implement. Okay, as we actually implement the guidelines. So, again, so ano na tayo? Do we count? Medyo wala na. So reminder again, for those na hindi pa po nakapag-accomplish ng evaluation sheet sa ating, for our resource person, kindly go to that link as provided in the Zoom group chat column. Okay? Huwag kayong mahiya maglagay ng ng very objective rating kasi alam naman natin how good talaga are our speakers. Okay? I'm excited already to listen more on Friday, Ma'am Weng, for the third batch. Okay, mukhang marami akong nakuhang input ngayon. Mukhang may plus pogi points ako ngayon. I was eager to moderate for now. So more questions? Mag-ano tayo, going. Anyways, as announced by Attorney Weng, you can always go to those options open for everyone to enter or submit your questions and concerns. So mag-count ulit ako from 10. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.